Well, that was an absolute fail. The moment I set up my camera, it started pouring rain. But then I'm in Seattle, so what do you expect in the state of Washington? In any case, for those of you who don't know my past here, I grew up in a religious household. I would go to church every single Sunday. I was taught religion. I was taught God. I was taught all that lovey-dovey stuff that religion teaches you when you're very, very young and very, very gullible. Growing up, I would attend Sunday school every Sunday. I was very devoted to my beliefs when growing up. And until about my younger teenage years, adolescent years, 13, 14, 15, is where, ironically, I went through some stuff that you probably wouldn't expect at a church. Because let's be honest, when you think of a church, you think of a place, or at least growing up I did, I think of a place that's, a place that people can go to. Doesn't matter what their sexuality is, you can go to the church and it's a place of love and acceptance for broken people. I've always viewed the church, and I still think this today, I think the church should be a place for broken people to go to. It doesn't matter your sexuality, it doesn't matter any of that or what you believe, it's a place for people to go to feel loved and cared for. That's my typical thought process of what I think a church should be. Unfortunately, that's not the case with a lot of churches today and all the different denominations that are associated with that. In any case, I attended church and I was heavily bullied. The crazy thing about that is, again, you don't think that bullying would exist within a church, but it certainly did. And one of the things that I was finding growing up in my adolescent years in the church is that I was constantly looking for validation from my fellow peers. And these fellow peers were, ironically enough, the people who were bullying me, the people who were making fun of my weight. Because growing up, when I was in my adolescence years, I had terrible, terrible acne. I was very, very chubby in the face. I had, I guess you could call baby fat rolls on my body, and I was a very chubby little teenager. I often have heard it said that bullying builds character, much like nuclear waste builds a superhero. It's a rare occurrence and often does more damage than endowment, and I believe that is a very, very true statement. One of the biggest things that I had to come to realize is not to bully myself because of what I was dealing with within the church and the names that I was constantly being called. I was being called fat, I was being told that I was ugly, I was being told that I was dumb, on and on and on. I was called very vulgar obscenities among these peers that I was seeking validation and acceptance for within the church. But I had to come to realize about myself is that if I say those things to myself, what other people are saying about me, that I'm dumb and stupid, that I'm ugly, that I'm fat, that I am bullying myself. You are doing exactly what those bullies are doing to you. And that can be extremely damaging to your self-esteem, your self-worth, and your life in general. Bullying is just a sign of another person's insecurity. The problem does not dwell within you, but the problem dwells within them. And you have to understand that. These people put you down and call you these names to feel better about themselves, when in reality it's actually making them more miserable. But it somehow creates a temporary satisfaction at the fact that they can call you these names and it affects you. Real bullies prey on people who are vulnerable, people who don't know how to fight back. And you can sit there and you can say, well, you're being bullied, well, just tough it out, be tough, stand up for yourself. But what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these people who are being bullied don't know how to stand up to these types of people. And that is where intervention, you, is required. Throughout my life, I have gotten to the point that you can only offend me or hurt me if you mean something to me. And all of those people in my past, those religious bullies, as I like to call them, you can't base your life on others people's expectations of you, because when you do that, you give these people the power to destroy you and take advantage of you, and you take to heart what they said, when in reality, you shouldn't give a living crap about anything they say to you. But because you're young, because you want that validation, because you want that acceptance, because you so desperately you want to feel needed, you want to feel wanted. That is a very typical thing growing up in your adolescence years, whether you're a guy or girl, is wanting to feel accepted and wanted. Even if that means being with crowds of people who don't respect you, who don't care for you, and bully you to the point of where you may attempt to take your life or hurt yourself. And those types of people are not your friends. Bullying has nothing to do with you. It is not your fault for what is happening to you, but it has to do with them and their own insecurities and their own struggles. And because they feel so miserable, putting you down, hurting you, and calling those names is the only way that they can get that temporary satisfaction because it's affecting you, and that makes them feel better. True bullying is all about power and pride. No one deserves to feel worthless. If I have any viewers or subscribers watching me right now who maybe in fact do bully young children or young teenagers or even adults, and they're watching this video right at this very moment, I have a little message for you. You know it's wrong with what you're doing. Please try to not make somebody else's life miserable because you are. It doesn't work and doesn't help you and doesn't help the person being bullied. Every single person watching this video right now has their own personal set of insecurities. That is completely normal. But you have to choose not to hang around the people who point those insecurities out and make fun of you for it. Because that's not what a real friend does. That's not what a real true group of friends will do. And if you're someone like myself who nearly took his life due to being bullied so heavily within school or the church, I believe it is our responsibility as survivors to reach out to these people who are struggling with being bullied and show them that there are people who truly care about them, and to show them that people do care and people want to help them and see them succeed and reach their true potential. We can have class after class for why people shouldn't bully, but I think the real way to stop it within school and within churches is to reach out to those people in need and intervene, something that doesn't happen enough. Being bullied is not your fault, and I want you to realize that. Thank you for watching.